Hello, my friends. How are you? Today, we are going to get ready together using some of my favorite products from the month of June. So everything that I have sitting here in front of me today are products that I picked up sort of late May, early June, and I just have not been able to put down. And I thought I would share all of those with you and give you some of my thoughts. Starting with primer, we have the Maybelline Grippy Serum Primer. If you're a huge fan of the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer like I am, you are going to love this. It is hydrating just like the milk. It extends the longevity of my makeup. It gives that tackiness. It's not heavy. My products lay over top of it really nicely, but it is like a third of the price. It is so much more affordable than the one from Milk. And honestly, I like how it's a little bit thinner in consistency. This one is definitely a little bit more on the liquid side, whereas the Milk is a little bit more on the gel side, but I feel like I get just a little bit more hydration from this and a little bit more glow, but I have not been able to put this down since the minute I got it. For foundation, I have the newest Cushion foundation from YSL. This foundation has quickly become a new favorite for me. I love how lightweight it is. It gives me a solid medium coverage. I can sheer it out a little bit if I want to, but I've really been enjoying the more medium side of coverage right now. But I love that it keeps me hydrated. It keeps that glow on my skin, but it doesn't melt off of my face whenever the heat hits it. Now, it's probably not the best for like a daily basis if you're going to be outside in the heat, if you're going to be sweating, or if you're an oily person, but just on a day-to-day basis, when you want just a really pretty, flawless, almost skin-like complexion, this one has been it for me. Another foundation that I just want to mention really quick is the newest one from Makeup Forever. This is the HD Skin Balancing and Perfecting Foundation. This is another one that I have reached for quite often in the month of June as well, especially if I know I'm going to be outside a little bit more or if I'm going to be sweating a little bit more. Yes, I know that's not glamorous to talk about, but I am very hot-natured and I do tend to sweat in like my T-zone area. It's not oil, it's sweat, I promise you. And this one really locks in place. It has a little bit more coverage than I prefer. It's more of like a medium full coverage, but it just looks so beautiful on the skin. It locks in place and it just kind of adjusts to like my more dry areas versus my areas that I'm feeling a little bit more oily or sweaty. It just does the job every single time, and I will definitely be doing another video using this one very soon. For concealer, I have found a new combo that I absolutely love to cocktail under my eyes. First, we have the Morphe Under Eye Correcting Concealer. This is more of an eye brightener for me because I have mine in the shade Blossom. So I like to just put a little bit right here in the very corner of my eyes where I have a little bit more of like that darkness, and this just gives me the brightness that I want. And then I like to go in with just a little bit of the Chantecaille Bio Lifting Concealer. I know I am mixing drugstore with luxury, and that is absolutely okay. Here we mix and match all the time, but I love this combo under my eyes because I love how I get that little bit of brightness, but then with this concealer, I get not only the coverage that I want, but it's lightweight. It is very hydrating under the eyes, and it's one of the few concealers that I have in my collection that I do not have to set with powder. So really quick, I'm just going to blend these two together and you'll just see how beautiful and flawless that coverage is. It just blends into the skin seamlessly and it just lays so nicely under my eyes. It doesn't look heavy, it doesn't look cakey, it doesn't settle into my lines under here. It is just absolutely flawless if you have really dry under eyes or more mature skin. Now we have had a lot of bronzers come out as of late, and I have slowly been working my way through what seems like almost every single one of them because I am a very fair gal and I'm always looking for that perfect bronzer that doesn't lean too warm, it's not too pigmented, but it's also not non-existent as well. And one that I have been reaching for almost on the daily is the newest one from Fenty Beauty. This is a Sun Stalker Soleil Pressed Mousse Cream Bronzer, and I have mine in the shade Sugar Cookie. And yes, it is warm, it's a bronzer, not a contour, but it's not orange on my skin. But what I love more than anything about this formula is how soft it is. It melts into the skin. It is buildable in pigmentation. I don't like my bronzers or blushes for that matter to be so pigmented when you first apply them that you're like, yikes, and you feel like you have to quickly do damage control in order to get the situation under control. But look at how pretty that is. It's just so blurring on the skin, and it just gave me this soft wash of color. It doesn't look unnatural. It doesn't look like I'm trying too hard, and I could absolutely build it up even more if I wanted to. Really quick, I'm gonna do a little bit of nose contour and a little bit of lip contour. This is not a new to me product, but it is one that I have still been absolutely loving, and that is the KJH brand Precision Sculpture Stylo. I have mine in the shade Etch. This is so incredibly easy to use. It is creamy. I love the undertone of it. This is really hard to do while I'm talking, but we are going to power through. But like I said, it's very creamy, it's very easy to use, it blends out effortlessly, and these are like a multi-use product. So you can use it to kind of shape your lips like I am, you can use it as a nose contour. I've even used it in like the socket of my eye and then just popped a one and done all over. I have been obsessed with this product since I picked it up, and it's been a couple months at this point. Now, just like bronzers, we have had a ton of blushes launch as well, and I don't know about you, but I am a sucker for a good blush, especially in a formula that I love, and there's two in particular that I have just been head over heels for. And that award goes to the Violette FR Plume Blushes and the Sarah Creole Mousse Blushes. So since I have two different formulas that I absolutely love, we are going to layer these, and we're actually going to start with the ones from Sarah Creole. Now, I did end up picking up two different shades. The first one I got is Love Bites, but the one that we're going to use today is Sunshine. So here are the two shades swatched out for you really quick. The top one is Love Bites and the bottom one is Sunshine. Like I said, we're going to start out with the shade Sunshine because it's a little bit more neutral and it's going to go really well with the shade that I want to use from Violette FR, but these are gorgeous on the skin. Again, they are buildable in pigmentation, but they are so blurring, and you can build them up to give a little bit more impact if you want. These perform beautifully both over and under powder products, and the longevity on these, I haven't had any issues. Since I don't have any new powders that I have been head over heels in love with, I'm just going to go in with two staples for my collection. So the first one for under my eyes is my Pat McGrath Blurring Under Eye Powder in the shade Baby Pink. I have spoken about this one in extreme lengths before. It is just a holy grail for setting my under eyes. It is so blurring, it is so lightweight. It has just the tiniest bit of a luminosity to it, which I find to be very flattering under my eyes, but seriously, I have not found another powder that looks more beautiful and more flawless under my eyes than this little guy right here. And for all over, we're going to go in with the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Powder in the shade Cookie. Again, this is just another one of those products that is an absolute staple in my collection. I have been using this powder for years. I love the way that it looks. It's a cult classic for a reason, but I know when I use this powder, my makeup is going to be locked down in place. It is going to be blurred, but it's not going to look dry and cakey. So silly me did not realize that my camera had actually stopped filming, and I already went over top with a powdered bronzer and one of the Violette FR blushes. So really quickly, I'm going to show you what I used and give you a rundown on my thoughts of these products. For powder bronzer, I went in with the new Marc Jacobs powder bronzer. I do have mine in the lightest shade, which is Fair. And fun fact about me, I am a huge Marc Jacobs fan. I love the fashion house, their handbags, their fragrances, and I was so excited when I heard that they were making their return into the cosmetic world because I was crushed when they went under the first time. So this made me so happy, and I did pick up several other things from the line, so if you want to see like a full face of what I grabbed, let me know and we can do that. But back to the bronzer. This is absolutely beautiful. It has sort of like this creamy texture to it. I love the undertone of it. I love the blendability, the buildability of this. It just looks so beautiful on the skin. It's never patchy, it's never streaky. It just builds up. It looks so soft and blurring on the skin, and I'm really sad that you didn't get to see me apply it. But what the hell? Let's throw on a little bit more for good measure, just so you can see how it kind of builds up. I will go in with a finishing powder to kind of blur everything out, kind of tone it down a little bit, and just kind of blend everything together. But you can see it's already building up more color on the skin. But again, it's not patching. It doesn't look like off or muddy on my skin. It just looks absolutely beautiful. And now I have on way too much bronzer. And now we can move on to the Violette FR blushes. So just like the ones from Sarah Creole, I did pick up two different shades, and you can see I sort of have a type when it comes to my blush shades. But this is another one of those formulas that is absolutely beautiful. And you can tell whenever I swatch these two shades out that they are a little softer in pigmentation. They're a little bit more blurring, but they're still very buildable on the skin. And the Violette FR formula is a little bit more on the creamy side compared to the Sarah Creole, which is more of a true like cream to powder formula. But the top shade is going to be Rose Fume, and the bottom one is going to be Latte Praline, and that's the shade that we're going to use today. So like I said, I did already put a little bit of this over top before I realized that my camera cut out, but why not put on a little bit more, because I guess more is going to be more today. So we're just going to build her up on the cheeks, and just like with the bronzer, you can see that it's not patching, it's not pilling, it's just melting into the skin and building on top beautifully. And again, it gives me that really pretty blurred cheek. So real quick, to just kind of mesh everything together and kind of blend it out a little bit more, we're gonna go in with this powder from Morphe. This is the Cloud Light Soft Glow Veil Powder. I have mine in the shade Dawn, which is the lightest one in the range. This is not a new to me powder, but it is a beautiful finishing powder. It is very similar to the ones from Hourglass, but I will say this does have just a little bit more pigment, so it's really going to kind of blur things out a little bit more, especially if you kind of went over the top with your bronzer or blush like I did, which was on purpose, but still over the top. But it just leaves the most beautiful glow to the cheek. And this is one of those products that has been in my rotation since the minute I got it. And lastly, before we jump into eyes, we have highlight, and I have two highlighters that I have been head over heels in love with as of late. One is the About Face, and the other one is the newest one from Marc Jacobs. And actually, this one's a little bit newer to me. I didn't pick it up when it first launched because I was like, I don't want a gel highlighter, but let me tell you what, this is absolutely stunning, and I'm going to show you this one in just a minute. But we are going to start with the About Face Highlighting Pearls. So I did pick mine up in the shade Ballet Beam, and this is like a cream to powder formula. So you could 100% use these individually, or you could do what I do and just swirl it all together and put it on the skin, but it gives the most beautiful glow, and this is not for the faint of heart. So what I like to do is just take a brush and kind of swirl it over every single color, and then I am just going to tap it on my cheeks. And look at that. Look at that instant glow. It is beaming. It is not subtle. Like I said, it is not for the faint of heart. So if you don't want a highlight that can be seen from outer space, this is not the one for you. But I do want to throw on just a little bit of this Marc Jacobs one over top. So like I said, this is more like a putty gel-like product. It is squishy in the thing. It kind of feels like slime or something like that, but it is so stunning. And I have been wearing this nonstop since I've gotten it. I've either been wearing it on its own or layered over top something else. I've used it on the eyes, I've used it as an inner corner, and every single time I wear it, I get so many compliments. So I am just going to kind of pat this right here on like the high point of my cheekbone, and look how that just took me from beaming to even more beaming, I guess. I don't know if there's a word for it, but holy smokes, is that not the most beautiful highlight ever? Again, not for the faint of heart. This is just as beaming on its own, but I love that little extra bit of glimmer that it gives to my cheeks. For the eyes, I have two of the Marc Jacobs single shadows, and I have been reaching for these so much lately that I honestly thought about picking up backups, but then I was like, no, that's crazy. You don't need backups. But these two shades have been a go-to on a day that I just don't want to think about what I want to do. I want a little something in my crease, all over my lid, a little added sparkle, some mascara, liner, out the door. So first we have the shade On Brand, and this is just a really boring everyday brown shade, but it is absolutely beautiful as a one and done in the crease, paired with a little sparkle all over the lid. But I just love, love, love this formula. I love this shade. They're supposed to be like a cream to powder, and I don't know if I feel like it's a cream to powder. Like, it definitely has a creaminess to it, but these blend out on the lid effortlessly. And this is one of the few eyeshadow formulas that I can get away with on my super oily lids without priming first. And the other shade that I have is Serving, and this is just the most beautiful kind of duochrome champagne-y pink shade. This shade I absolutely love to pair with the other one. I just kind of tap it all over my lid, or I can wear it as a one and done as well. But just look at how beautiful, sparkly, and smooth that is. Again, I don't have to prime my eye beforehand. These don't crease on me. I don't get any fallout. They just last all day. So I'm going to start by applying the shade On Brand all over my lid. So I am just going to kind of tap it on right here and then swirl it up and blend it out towards my brow bone, dragging it out towards my outer corner, just kind of blending and blurring until I get sort of that faded effect that I want. But you see how beautiful that is as a one and done? Like, you could do this, throw on a little bit of mascara, liner if you wanted to, and be out the door. But I'm a sparkle girl, so we're gonna throw a little bit of serving on over top, just kind of concentrating that right here in the center of my lid. And then as I run out of product on my finger, I'm just going to kind of spread it out towards the inner corner, outer corner, and then up on the crease. And look at how pretty that is. It's effortless, it's simple, and it just gives a little something something to the eye. So I did go ahead and finish off my eyes with a little bit of liner and mascara. And for liner, I went in with the Mature Beauty Liner. I have two of these. I picked them up whenever they launched, and I have been loving this formula. So the two shades that I have are going to be Steel Gray and Champagne Bronze. And what I love about these liners is they are so creamy. They just glide onto the lid and they don't dry down immediately. You do have a little bit of time to sort of manipulate it before it lays down, but once it dries, it stays in place all day. It is not going anywhere with my watery eyes, my allergy prone eyes, and I do wear contact lenses and I don't experience any irritation with that as well. There are several other shades in the line, but these are the two shades I picked, and this shade right here, the bronze one, is the one that I'm actually wearing on my waterline, and I kind of tight lined just a little bit. And then for mascara, I went in with the Maybelline Sky Tubes mascara. This is one that I have not been able to put down since I picked it up. It is finally an affordable tubing mascara that doesn't flake, it's not hard to get off, it doesn't clump up on me, it just looks so beautiful and natural on the lashes. And I am not a lash wearer, I can't get into them. I want to. There's like two parts of me. There's the part of me that wants to be a lash girly, and then there's the other part of me that's just too lazy and wants a good mascara, and this is a good mascara. Let's finish this look off with a good lip combo. So first I'm going to go in with my Wonder Skin lip liner. This is in the shade Saddle. I am just going to line my lips really, really well and then just kind of blur it out a little bit. Gonna give her just a little bit of a blur on the bottom lip and top lip. And then we're just gonna top that off with the Morphe Lip Lock Glassy Lipstick in the shade Caught Rose. This has been a go-to for me. I seriously can't put it down. I actually had to dig this out of my purse in order to put it on for this video. I love how hydrating this is. I love how lightweight it is. I like that it doesn't gather in the center of my lips, and the longevity on this is actually really good. It is a lipstick, so it's not going to wear all day. It is going to come off as you eat, drink, talk, and things like that, but it gives me really good wear time on its own. And then lastly, we're gonna lock everything in place with the Morphe Life Proof Setting Spray, another one that I have been reaching for like crazy and absolutely loving. All right, friends, so this is the completed look, and I think it turned out absolutely beautiful. I have been loving every single one of these products so much. In fact, I think some of these may become new holy grails in my collection, but only time will tell. We will see what happens as I pick up new things, if they stay in the everyday makeup drawer, if they make their way back over into my collection. But before we close out this video, I do have a couple of honorable mentions. So the first honorable mention that I have is actually this dry shampoo from Amika. Now, Amika already makes one of my favorite dry shampoos, but recently they teamed up with Ellis Brooklyn to bring us their dry shampoo, but in the Guava Granita fragrance. And if you have not smelled Guava Granita from Ellis Brooklyn, then you are really missing out, because it just smells like a tropical summer, and this smells exactly like it, and I have been reaching for this like crazy. Like I said, this was already a favorite product of mine to begin with, but I want this to be a permanent addition. I want my dry shampoo to smell like this every single day. So the last two products that I wanted to mention today are actually fragrances, and they're from the brand Dead Cool, which honestly I had never heard of before, but they did reach out to me over on Shop My Shelf and asked if I wanted to pick out 3 fragrances that they could send my way. So of course I said yes. This is not sponsored or anything like that, but these were gifted to me. But out of the 3 that I picked out, these are the 2 that I have been loving. So the first one that I've been loving is called Taunt, and this one has notes of bergamot, vanilla, and amber. So it definitely has like that vanilla sweetness to it, but just a little bit deeper, a little bit more sophisticated, less sweet, less gourmand to it, but still an absolutely beautiful fragrance. And the one that I have been loving a little bit harder on is Mochi Milk, because this one is marshmallow and vanilla bean, and to me that's exactly what it smells like. It smells like a marshmallow that is vanilla fragranced. It is sweet, but it's not overpoweringly sweet. It's a little bit gourmandy, but it's just beautiful on the skin, and these last all day. Literally, I can spray a little bit on in the morning before I go to work, and when I get home at night, I can still smell it, sometimes even to the next day into my hair if I didn't wash it that night. I have really been enjoying these. I really want to look into the brand a little bit more, check out some of their other fragrances, but I thought I would share these with you guys today. All right, y'all, so that is all of my June favorites, and I hope y'all found this video very helpful, but let me know all of your thoughts down below. Let me know what some of your favorite products have been as of late, and I will see y'all all very soon in my next video.